I was on a bike ride the other day and I came across this sign. Caution, alligators are present. Do not approach, feed, or harass the alligators. I have to admit it triggered a little fear. Should I be riding my bike here? Am I safe? In Florida, you learn quickly that signs warning of alligators are everywhere. I look at them as an invitation to a fear challenge. I started thinking about those signs and news reports of alligator incidents and the fear of alligators as a wonderful metaphor on how fear and anxiety can dominate our lives if we let them. How we respond to fear triggers can teach us powerful lessons about facing our fears head on. Now, this isn't just about the dangers of alligators. It's a parallel to the sudden jolts of anxiety that can disrupt us without notice. For conditions like panic disorder, agoraphobia, and health anxiety, instead of an alligator warning sign, the triggers are internal bodily sensations, maybe an intrusive thought, a work deadline, or driving on the expressway. The mind is constantly signaling danger and urging us to retreat, to keep ourselves safe and calm. Now, like I said, when I first noticed the alligator warning signs, I thought, oh my gosh, should I be riding here? Maybe this is dangerous. I imagined a huge alligator snatching me off my bike, and I felt a little threatened. Our brains have a way of blowing up the fear and overestimating the danger. But I've reminded myself, hey, I'm an anxiety specialist. I move towards the fear. I don't avoid it. And I was also a little curious. Is this a realistic threat? It's a good idea to know what is a realistic threat versus just a possibility. So I looked into it. It turns out since 1948, the last 76 years, 22 people have been killed by alligators in Florida. So that's one person every 4 years. Now, approximately 135 million people visit Florida each year. So over 4 years, let's just round that up to 540 million people. So I figured I had a 1 in 540 million chance of being killed by an alligator on my bike ride. Probably less because I'm pretty sure those 22 people in the last 76 years were not on a bike ride. But you'd never know the risk was that low if you listened to the fear mongering on the news. This is another example of how fear works in anxiety conditions, OCD and health anxiety. We misinterpret a very remote possibility and somehow act and believe it as if it was this realistic probability. We overestimate the threat of danger. Now, whoever convinced these counties to spend a bunch of money and put up warning signs about alligators really overestimated the threat. There are far greater threats, like being bit by a dog or getting heat stroke. Why aren't there a bunch of signs about that? Because people aren't afraid of it. The lesson here is to ask yourself this. Is what I'm afraid of realistic probability or just a remote possibility that feels uncomfortable and scary to imagine? We move through fear and we thrive in our lives by trusting our senses and reality-based probabilities instead of avoiding activities because of remote possibilities. The truth is avoiding feeds fear. Steering clear of paths where there might be alligators only gives the alligators more territory and more power in our minds. Instead, put the pedal to the metal and be willing to keep moving forward. Now, when we defy our fear by moving forward against our internal warnings, we build confidence and resilience. That's where the magic happens. It teaches us that we can tolerate anxiety and fear, and we learn to live alongside of our fears without being controlled by them. Now, last month, I was on a boat ride down the Peace River in Florida, and I saw a lot of alligators sunning on the shores and swimming in the river. And when I first saw the ripples in the water, I did feel this little spike of adrenaline. But it turns out alligators are much more avoidant of us than we are of them. Alligators teach us that not every perceived threat demands a dramatic response. Anxiety is notorious for setting off false alarms, making you think that you're in a crisis and you have to act urgently. Anxiety will urge you to limit your life. Don't go on that trip. Don't venture outside your comfort zone, but you can't let those urges control you. It's okay to acknowledge anxiety's presence, but then stay the course. Focus on engaging and living your life and doing what you want to do, regardless of whether anxiety's there or not. This is what will reduce its power over you. So to anyone battling with anxiety, panic, agoraphobia, consider this lesson from the alligators. Start with small steps, a walk down the street, or go for a bike ride. Those alligator signs and your feared threats like a racing heart rate might be there, but just keep on going. Celebrate each step as a victory and a moment of bravery. Hopefully you won't see a headline in the news that says alligator specialist Paige Pradko eaten by alligator while on a bike ride. But even though I can imagine that headline, I'm still willing to face my fears and keep on riding. For more strategies and support in managing anxiety and embracing life beyond fear, visit my website, paigepradko.com. You'll find a support community there called the Warm Heart Hub and therapy resources to help you navigate through health anxiety, panic, agoraphobia, and OCD. Until next time, I'll see you in session. Take care. Bye-bye.